morning. Hi, I'm Laura with Sheehan Natural Health Improvement Center, and this is my husband, Dr. Keith Sheehan.
Hello.
And it's a beautiful Wednesday morning. As you can see, the sunlight is streaming in through the window. And Dr. Sheehan, what did you want to talk to us today? Food allergies. Yes.
So, Binky and I want to talk to you today about food allergies. Because there's a lot of confusion about food allergies. There's even blood tests now that can actually show food allergies, but I'm not a big fan of them. Why? Because they don't really tell you what a food allergy is, how it becomes a food allergy, and all that kind of thing. Now, what I will tell you is that I'm not talking about like peanut allergies and nut allergies and obvious like really bad allergies where the person goes into shock, anaphylactic shock. I'm talking about these food allergies where people say, you know, I don't digest this very well, and I get problems when I digest this. You know, it makes my skin break out in a rash. I get, you know, kind of like mucousy, or it gives me a stomach ache or something like that. That's what I'm talking about with food allergies. So so lab tests will show you what you actually have. We like to call them sensitivities too, by the way, instead of allergies. So if someone has like a food allergy, like a peanut allergy or something like that. Sit there, buddy. Okay, looks like he wants to get off my lap. Anyway, if I'm not talking about those, so let's talk about them more like food sensitivities. You're sensitive to certain foods, okay? So where do they come from? Okay, what happens is your body, you have like basically cells in your digestive tract that are close together like this, okay? And what happens is if the gut becomes damaged, it kind of separates a little bit, and these food particles go in between the lining of the gut, okay? And next thing you know, your immune system sees them as an invader, like a bacteria or a virus or a parasite or something like that, and it will attack it. That's what causes the allergic symptoms, okay? And what's called an antigen goes between those cells, okay, and then your immune system attacks it, okay, with its antibodies. And so that's what the real problem is, okay? So knowing that basically it's an increase in gut permeability, what causes that? That's what the question really is, right? Yeah. So the first thing, like everything, is sugar. Now, why would sugar cause that problem? Well, sugar is very stressful to your adrenal hormone system, okay? And so what will happen is it'll increase stress levels, which actually causes the cells to part.
Increasing stress levels will cause the cells.
Yeah, which is why sugar and stress go hand in hand.
Of your gut? It causes the cells of your gut?
Yeah, they basically separate a little bit so it allows more antigens in there so that you start reacting to them, and it causes an immune system reaction.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, but that's what happens. So that's one of the ways that sugar does it. The other way it does it is that it's extremely toxic to your liver. By the way, if you have if you have like excess fat, it means you've got excess fat in your liver. And that is a very dangerous condition, because what happens is if your liver doesn't work properly, it won't give you good quality bile to actually keep your bowel healthy, okay? If your body is not producing good quality bile, good quality bile, also what will happen is you have a feedback loop that goes to your stomach. Okay, if you're not producing, what happens is your stomach actually produces acid to digest and to digest critters as well as your food when you eat. You eat things that shouldn't be in there sometimes, and the stomach acid will burn it up. And then what happens is the contents go from the stomach to the small intestine, and the gallbladder actually secretes bile, which neutralizes that acid. Okay. Now, if your liver is not working properly, it actually sends a feedback loop to that stomach saying, hey, I can't reduce this acid too much, and so you've got to stop producing as much acid. Well, guess what happens then? Then what your body does is it allows in more antigens and more bugs and more critters. And so that's how it gets all messed up. That's the reason why sugar causes such a big problem, because it's toxic to the liver. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Doesn't sound good.
No, it doesn't sound good, okay? So sugar and stress, they basically are toxic to the liver and they damage the gut lining, okay? Which allows more bugs to come in there. And then that actually causes more damage. And so you're gonna have to see this big, kind of like a wheel, okay? increased sugar, toxicity of the liver, decreased stomach function, increased bugs, and it just...
Bugs, you mean like pretty much any pathogen, like a parasite or bacteria or whatever that's in the food that you're eating, that your body can't...
Right.
When your liver's not working right, your body can't fight those things off as effectively in your gut.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. That's the reason why we start with cutting out sugar. So the sugar, stress, and bugs. And then what happens is, those are the top three things. And then what happens is we usually do have some kind of weakness in our digestive function from what's called epigenetics and genetics. Like, I think in my family, we inherited a little bit of weak liver and gallbladder function. Okay? So it's a little bit of genetic. Okay? There's some things that run in my family that are linked to liver.
Yeah.
Okay? Epigenetics is when, depending on what we eat, it'll turn on and off different chromosomes. Okay? So you can actually affect your genetic expression by what you eat, stress levels, toxins, stuff like that. So that's what comes last. So eat sugar, toxic to the liver. Stress damages gut lining. Bugs move in there, damaging the gut lining more. You start reacting more to food, and then the weak digestive organs, basically it's a circular path. And that's what causes food allergens. The reason why I'm not such a great fan of blood tests, I've taken people on our program, and you do the blood test before and after, and actually the number of things that they're sensitive to, or as they're allergic to, goes way down. Okay, which means that basically you're upping the integrity of the digestive tract, so you're not reacting to those things anymore. So it's not really a true allergen. Like, your body is reacting to things that are getting into its bloodstream from the digestive tract because the digestive tract doesn't work. But the problem isn't in the food necessarily. It's actually in the digestive tract and how you digest.
I see. So I recently saw sort of a young woman who, she's very concerned that she has all kinds of food allergies for an allergy test, and she said, well, I want to be able to eat eggs.
Yes.
And, eggs, that's a pretty, great food. Mm-hmm. So you're saying that it's that the integrity of her gut has been somehow compromised, and if I can help her just basically eat healthier, get her stress down, and support her digestive tract, and it will heal, and then she may not be allergic to those foods anymore. Exactly.
Like, I'll give you an example. I had a woman come in here and she was allergic to like everything under the sun, and she had a tremendously fatty liver. It showed up on her lab tests and everything. And basically, when I told her that, and I said, it looks like all your problems are coming from your liver, and she goes, I know. And I go, well, why hasn't anybody doing anything about it? And she said, well, the doctors don't have any way to fix it. And so they just keep on giving medication. I think she was on a dozen medications at one point. And I found that she wasn't really allergic to any of those foods. And I said, so let's get your liver back to health. Start eating those foods again. And she was scared. Okay? But I said, go ahead. So she started eating the foods again. She came in the next week. Not only did she feel better, but she was happier because she could eat all those foods that she was allergic to before. Now, I will tell you that most people need to avoid grains, processed sugar, and pasteurized dairy. Why? Because they're not really like food substances anymore. The grains have been highly processed, so they're not recognized as food. And they never were a big staple in our diets. Okay? Pasteurized dairy, that was introduced, less than 100 years ago. And processed sugar, like 100 years ago. So those types of foods you should avoid. Realize that they're not really foods. And that's the reason why you avoid them. Not just because they're allergenic.
So that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
So there is a lot you can do.
There's a lot you can do.
If you feel like you have food allergies, and it's not just that you're a victim of, your genetics or whatever, that, the food allergies just kind of happened to you. They fell out of the sky and hit you in the head. I'd love to say that. Yeah. They didn't just fall out of the sky and hit you in the head. There's a lot you can do for yourself.
Exactly.
To help get rid of them.
Exactly.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Dr. Sheehan. Please like this video, share it if you found it useful, and we'll see you on the next one.